about statues these days. And there's a statue of the famous suffragette Emmeline Pankhurst in Manchester, and the Standing for Women's groups, which campaigns for women's rights, wanted to make speeches around that yesterday. But when they got to the statue, it was surrounded by male trans campaigners who were masked. They looked rather like ninjas. J.K. Rowling said there is no conflict between women's rights and our ideology. To prove it, she was like acting like as if she was one of these masked marauders. To prove it, we've dressed up as ninjas to block public access to a statue of a suffragette. We're confident this has done wonders for our cause and definitely isn't an unintentionally hilarious own goal. They certainly do look a bit ridiculous, but let's talk to the Standing for Women organiser of this event, Kellie-Jay. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, good afternoon.
What did you think when you arrived at Emmeline Pankhurst statue to find it surrounded by strange people in ninja outfits?
Well, it was quite hilarious, wasn't it? So, yeah, it was hilarious, but also quite alarming and completely fitting to the way that they have operated for the last few years since women have tried to defend our rights against the creep of transgender ideology.
And what sort of speeches were you and your friends planning to make?
Well, just plain speaking, a man remains a man, you know, born male, grows up to be a man, born female, grows up to be a female, that we don't want this ideology being force-fed to our children in schools, that is safeguarding, you know, general women's rights stuff.
And what did these ninja people say to you when you tried to get to the statue?
Well, many of them are my biggest fan. So we'd had a chat with the police, who were amazing. Greater Manchester Police went above and beyond to protect women attending these speeches. So we decided to go across the road. I mean, that particular incident that you're showing now did involve some violence against a woman, and I'm sad to say that the woman was asked to leave that area. But that was sort of the police's idea, that you just keep the two sets of activists and people completely separate. And
what is it that the ninjas so objected to about what you were doing?
Well, they don't like us speaking the truth. They don't like us speaking about women's rights. Apparently, all women have to accept that a man who says he's a woman is allowed into our spaces, is allowed to use our language. This is something Standing for Women have been campaigning for a long time now. Just to say that a woman is an adult human female, it is an exclusive definition and it doesn't welcome any man into it.
I mean, you and I have spoken many times about this, and, you know, I mean, I pretty much support where you're at. I certainly support the main tenet of your objections, which are that women should not be called people with cervixes, or people who menstruate, or people who get pregnant. Why can't women be called women? Because to give them these other names, these other descriptions, is to negate femalehood, is to negate women, it's to negate the whole feminine sex, and I think that's sexist.
Well, it is, but it's no surprise, really, that this is happening to women. We're the ones losing our language. It's not like we've lived in a feminist utopia for the last sort of 2,000 years. So it's not really a surprise. It is the most pernicious assault because it's almost invisible. You know, some people will say, well, why can't we call some men women if they want to be called women? And that is the thin end of the wedge argument. And here we are at the fat end of the wedge, that these men basically put a noose around the neck of Emmeline Pankhurst statue and prevented women from going anywhere near it. I mean, it was a perfect encapsulation, very good visual for exactly what's going on to women's rights.
So I don't mind calling them women, but, you know, if that's what they want, as I always say to you, anything that makes you happy in life, if you're not harming anyone else, go right ahead as far as I'm concerned. So I don't mind calling them women, but what I do mind is being told to accept they're biologically female because they're not.
Yeah, I mean, look, you and I probably disagree on this point because I think it does cause harm. It does cause harm to women. It really does. If you start calling men women, then we can cease to use language, straightforward language for women. which does cause us great harm. You know, we can't talk about ourselves without having to use a qualifier that we are adult human females. I mean, the word woman is adult human female, and once we start diluting it, then we lose all right to it.
I don't think it has to cause harm to women, as long as it could be approached in a more reasonable way. And if people sort of stopped insisting on calling women people with cervixes, you know, and I include the NHS in that. But it's the extreme way it's approached that I think causes harm to women. I'm assuming, Kellie-Jay, that yesterday's shenanigans will not stop your fight.
Oh, goodness, no. I mean, you use the word reasonable. I think that's the crux of the issue, isn't it? We don't find it reasonable that we have to dilute our language at all. We don't find it reasonable that the NHS insists on not recognising women as women, that the government don't recognise women as women, that schools don't recognise girls as girls. You know, it's always, once you start diluting these things, once we can't speak plainly, all bets are off, really. But no, I have no intention of stopping at all.
I knew that would be your answer. Always great to talk to you, Kellie-Jay. Thank you so much. Kellie-Jay Keane, founder of Standing for Women there. We're going to take a call now.